What's up guys and welcome back. It's been about 3 weeks since I posted a video. The first week I was up north, the second week I was sick, and the third week I was a little lazy, so I'm sorry about that. But today I've got a video for you guys about how I multiplied my purple passion plants. So let's check it out. Alright guys, so what you're seeing here is the purple passion plant. Man, that's almost like a tongue twister. Purple passion plant, purple passion... Oh my god, that's a crappy joke. I'm sorry. Anyways, so that's what this plant is, and the reason I have this plant is actually because my brother and his girlfriend had one, and I was worried that they were gonna kill it, so this was kind of a contingency plan. This is actually a clone from their original plant, which it did end up dying, and I ended up giving them a clone, so my plant ended up working, which was good. So yeah, these are actually clones. And now a good way to get clones from plants is through propagation. So maybe you've never heard of that word, or you have before, but basically you can take a cutting or a clipping of a plant and then you can cause it to start rooting, and then it will grow into its own plant. So today I'm going to show you how I did it, and then you'll see the steps and the progress as time progresses. This is a great way to get more of your favorite types of plants without having to go to the store and buy them, and you can also do this to create gifts for other people. Alright, so first with these plants, mine always seem to flower very often. So you're going to want to snip these off, because if you leave the flowers on, it's going to kind of suck more energy away from the plant when it's trying and should be using its energy for rooting. Other people have recommended removing the flowers, claiming that the plant grows a little better, so I try and get rid of them. You'll also notice if you let it actually get to flower that they smell kind of bad actually, so a lot of people just get rid of them, and that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm really curious to see how big of a plant you need to properly grow roots and survive the propagation lifespan. Alright, so for this cutting, I'm actually going to leave about 5 or 6 leaves on there, and then I'm just going to snip it in an open area. You want to make a large enough cutting that the cutting will have enough leaves to get energy and light while it starts rooting, but you also don't want to take a cutting so large that you end up killing your original plant. It's probably safe to say that you can cut it right in half, so that way you have two plants of about the same size and they should both survive. On this next one though, I'm going to try and do a tiny cutting, just because I'm curious how small you can really go and still get a plant out of it. Cutting the plants actually promote a more bushy growth too, so if you have purple passion plants that are getting really long and viney, if you start cutting them, you can make them bush out a little more. Once you have your cutting removed from the plant, I usually like to remove a few of the leaves, because the roots are also going to come out of the bottom, the first cut, and any spot that you cut the leaves off of, they'll kind of sprout from there. So by removing the leaves, it allows me to get more of the stem into the water, because that's where they're going to eventually be. With this real little cutting, I was only able to remove one leaf while still keeping a few to gather light and energy, just so the plant survives. Well, I hope it survives. Then next, you're going to need 2 containers for these cuttings. You want them to be narrow topped, just so that way the leaves have something to rest, so that way the cutting doesn't fall back into the container, because you just want the stem to be wet. So just stick your cutting stems in the containers and fill the water level up, so that way it's covering some of the stem. Make sure you try and maintain the same water level as these things begin to root. And then that should be all you need to do for this, and now it's time just to sit and wait. Alright, here 4 days have passed. You can see roots are already starting to come out of the spots that we cut the leaves, and they're also starting to come out of the stem. It's actually surprising how fast these things start to root in the water. The smallest one, as expected, isn't rooting as fast. 10 days has passed again, and you can see the larger cutting has a ton of roots. The container is starting to be saturated with them. Every part that was cut on the stem is producing roots like we expected. This is why it's important to cut a few leaves off, so that way you have more spots for roots to come out. Now, maybe you noticed that I've put these in a different container. If you're curious about what this is, I actually made a video on how to make a propagation station, so I'll put a link in the description for that. Here's the smallest cutting. It's actually starting to root pretty well, and I'm pretty sure that this one's going to survive. 5 more days have passed, and the larger cutting has saturated the container with plenty of roots, and I think now is a good time to actually plant it. So what you're going to need is a pot. Make sure the pot that you find is tall enough to accommodate the stem and all the roots, so you can kind of hold it up to the different containers and see which one matches best. Now I'm just going to fill this thing up with some potting soil, nothing special, just some typical stuff that you can get from the store. Once you get soil to the desired level inside the pot, you're going to want to take some sort of long instrument and make a hole deep enough to accommodate all the roots without damaging them. For this one, I'm just going to make a really skinny, deep hole. Alright, here's the most dangerous part of the journey for the cutting. Getting it into the actual soil without breaking any roots off. Just be really gentle and don't push too hard, and just make sure you clear the dirt away nicely so you can insert it in the hole. When I pot my plants, I'm usually pretty messy and I get soil all over the leaves, and it just kind of annoys me because it looks a little lame, and sometimes pouring water on it doesn't fix it. So here's a little device that I have from my photography hobby. This thing is used to blow dust off of lenses, but I find it works really well to blow soil and stuff off of your leaves. I'll put a link in the description to this thing because I think it's just a really handy tool to have. All it is a hand powered blower. You just squeeze it and it blows out kind of a pressurized air. Now just saturate the soil really well, water it good, and then it should be good to go, and you can start treating it like a regular houseplant. Alright guys, about a month has passed and we're going to take a look at the really little one. As you can see, it doesn't look very good. It's been kind of molding and kind of decaying away. I've noticed with these plants, because they're covered in tiny little hairs, they're really good at leaching water upwards. So even when I try and keep the water level as low as possible to still feed the roots, the water just kind of uses capillary action and just travels up the stalk of the plant, and it keeps the leaves so wet. And because the leaves were always so wet, it started to mold and decay. It's got plenty of roots now though, so I think we can plant it and just hope for the best. You can do the same thing I did for the first plant. You just fill a thing of soil, poke a hole, and just carefully insert the cutting. I'm a little concerned for this plant, but I'm pretty sure it should survive. Well, just like that, we've doubled our plants. Some plants you have might be big enough where you can make multiple cuttings, so I think it's really cool, and if you have too many plants, you can always share with your friends. Some of you may have been worried about that very little plant, but have no fear. At almost a month later, it's looking very healthy and nice. This one actually started sprouting new leaves pretty soon once I planted it, and it grew into a nice little plant. For the future though, I would recommend doing cuttings a little longer, especially with this species, just because of those hairs and the way they can leach water upwards. Alright guys, well I think that just about does it for this video. If you guys like videos about propagation, I've got a few more coming. Give it a like if you do. That'll encourage me to make more propagation videos. I'm not quite sure what you guys like watching, but I hope I can make videos that you like watching. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching this video, and thanks to all my subscribers. I now have, I think, over 2,000, which is crazy. I never expected to get this far. I'm really happy, and I'm very thankful that you guys have all subscribed, liked, commented, and continued to watch my videos. So thanks a lot, guys. It means a lot to me. And I'll see you next time. May your plants go strong and healthy. See ya. Hey guys, one last thing. While I was on vacation, I scored some pretty interesting plants. I got cool videos coming up, but here's a sneak peek. Look at that. We got ourselves a carnivorous plant. So stay tuned. I'm going to teach you about these things and show you how you can actually propagate these and grow more of them. Alright guys, see ya.